Good morning, and welcome to TCS Consulting. This is a platform that focuses on leadership development and organizational development. And today, this morning, I'm just here to wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that jazz. And just to give you a word of encouragement for the coming year. We are currently in the background working on the special issue, which is our biggest issue of the year for Own It Magazine and Publishing. It's called The Year at a Glance. And I want to share with you the intent of that. I am a strategic planner, organizer, and strategist by just natural nature. I'm always projecting out, thinking of the bigger picture. And when you do that, you do a lot of reflecting, right? So you want to assess and you want to assess on reflecting and assess on how you did, what was great, what went wrong, how can you improve things, and then also to the experience, right? So it's not always about the analytics, it's also about the experience as well. And for me, as the CEO and the editor-in-chief of two companies, a consulting company for organizational development, as well as a magazine and publishing company, it's huge for me because, I look at not only our numbers, I not only look at our stats, but I also look at our people. It's very important. I talked throughout the year of 2023 and even prior to that about LMX. That's big on my heart, leader member exchange, how leaders are affecting their teams and how they're affecting the people that they serve. That's huge to me because we talked about all year long coming out of the pandemic about mental health and wellness. Well, part of that in leadership is to have a connection with your people to the point where you see them. Sometimes we got to give tough love because we know that our people, we see the potential of our people. We see their greatness. Sometimes we see their greatness and they don't see it. Sometimes we see their greatness, they see it, but they don't want to rise up to it. So as their leader, we have to encourage them, not push them or force them, but we have to encourage them to rise up, to tap into and unleash their unlimited potential. And the way that you do that is taking time to reflect over the year. Take time to reflect over your highs and your lows, your goods and your bads. Also do an inventory of your people to see what skills did you see they had that you didn't notice before. And are you sharing those skills with them? Are you showing them and helping them to see the bigger picture for themselves? And so the year at a glance helps us to do that. So all of our contributing writers write about what has gone on with them in this past year, 2023. And, they share that. They share their moments of highs and lows, how they overcame during the year, how they persevere, or they share with you their victories and their achievements and some of the goals that they set. As a strategist, I'm thinking of the bigger picture. So not only are we reflecting, but we're also projecting. So we're looking into the coming year. And as leaders, that's what I want to charge you to do. In this coming year, I want you to reflect. I don't want you to just show up anymore. I don't want you to enter into meetings anymore, just participating. I want you to begin to think, how can I contribute? I'm hearing what's going on. How can I be a part? How can I be a part of what's great going on? Or if you feel like it's not great enough and it has more potential, I want you to have the courage to come out of your comfort zone and speak up and say, hey, this could be even more, this can be even greater. And start to be encouraged to share your ideas. And I'm talking to people who are, you want to be a supervisor, or listen, I remember when the boss baby came out and we talked about the worker bee mindset or the boss mindset. I want you to start thinking as a boss, even though you're not a boss. I know my partner and my girl, Jacqueline Lulu Brown, talks about the ability to influence without authority or title. You have to be able to do that. You have to think like a boss, even though you're a part of the team. Because that's called high performance teams. We all come with an expectation to be a positive or empowering contribution to, what we're involved in, whether it's a regular meeting on the job, and we see some ideas, we have some ideas. Don't let denial, don't let delay, or don't let oversight discourage you. Continue to speak up until your voice is heard. Don't let discouragement stop you from having a voice, because eventually you're going to get in the room where it's happening, and the people in that room want to hear your voice. And if you allow, you know, the oversight, if you allow the delay of folks recognizing your voice to discourage you or dishearten you, when your time does come, you will have dimmed your light and no one will see you. You don't ever want to do that. Persevere. I always say press through the mess to get to God's best. You got to go through the trenches. You got to go through the trenches in order for you to get to the land of victory. And so don't you dare give up, cave in, or quit. This is a word to encourage you to continue to speak up, to continue to project a voice of excellence, a voice of we can do even more or greater. I want to encourage you to do that. Think like a boss. I know for me, when I worked for other people, other companies, it was interesting as I thought about coming on live today. It was interesting that I never thought about it before, but I always knew, I guess, subconsciously that I would work for myself. But even with that subconscious knowledge, me knowing that I would always end up being my own boss and creating my own terms, I still showed up on the job giving my all. I still showed up in any company or any organization giving my all. I wanted to make them shine. I wanted to serve. I always had a heart to serve. I always, offered my talents and my giftings without reproach. Even in relationships, friendships, love relationships, I've always been one to give my all. And I thank God for that, because in my business, I give my all. And it's a pleasure when you don't hold back. You really get to enjoy your authenticity as a contributor or as a leader when you give your all without holding back, without manipulation. When this is another charge I want to give to you too, is when you show up. Don't show up. You got to have an agenda, but you can't be selfish, right? So when you show up, you do have to have an agenda. You got to get what you came for. I always teach that. Get what you came for. You came here to get something, but at the same token, come to serve. Come to see where you can lend a hand, where you can be a major contribution to help other people. Don't have a hidden agenda that's manipulative, because it's going to manifest, right? I like the word of God that says all things are made manifest in the light. It's going to come to light the true heart that you have behind what you're doing. So always self-regulate. If you know that you're going in a place where it's going to be selfish, regulate yourself. We all get there. There's not a person that could be in the room that's not thinking of themselves. We all are. It's called survival, right? Thrive to survive. So, but we can correct our heart to make sure, slow down, slow your roll, make sure that you come with humbleness and humility to help. God's going to reward you. You don't have to look for your reward, because God looks at your heart and he sees your heart. And at the right moment and at the right time, if you don't faint by doing right by people, by doing right by your company, by doing right by organizations, by doing right in relationships, God is going to reward you. You don't have to do the manipulating and the conniving and the backstabbing. You don't have to do that. And also too, you don't want to do it, because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to have that guilt and shame and feeling of filth is going to be you. So one thing I can charge you with this coming year is right now in this season, is to reflect over your year. Take inventory. Look over what you've accomplished and see if it's where you really want to be. And start having that serious conversation with yourself about what it is that you really want. What is it that you really want in your life? What is it that you really want on the job with your career? And what is it that you really want in your business if you have it? And what are you really willing to do? What are you really willing to do to make sure that what it is that you desire to have, you get it done? And so do that introspective work. Reflect over this year, see where you're at, and then in the coming year, project. Create a strategy and a plan. Get yourself in a quiet place. I know that across the different shows that Own It has, uh, I know what keeps coming back to me for as a message to the public is get in that set aside place. The only way you can come up with a plan and a strategy is you have to take yourself away from your environment. You have to take yourself away and get into a quiet space and make a list. I remember being in a car accident in my late 20s. I was in a car accident and I was working for corporate and I was really, really stressed out. I was really, really stressed out. I was a young mother and a young wife. We had purchased our first home. My mom was sick and on the verge of passing. And I was just stressed out. I was stressed out. So I got into a car accident. And as a result, I remember sitting in the chiropractor's office to get my first exam. And he just got one look at me and he says, I have a doctor for you. And he, his receptionist, and the one thing I loved about Dr. Lyons was he handled everything. I mean, when the people came into him, that he was the first responder, so to speak, because he got us. He's a chiropractor. This the first place you go after you have a back injury, and he saw my need, and he had his receptionist, set me up an appointment with a therapist. And one thing that I could take away, and it's funny, guys, I remember Dr. Lyons' name, but I don't remember the therapist's name. But he was simple. And he just said to me, Marisa, create a list. You need to write a list of the things because you need to manage everything that's going on in your life. And I have been living by that ever since. If you could see my walls, if you could see the work that I do, it's always a list. I keep a running list based on the different projects that I'm working on. And that's how pretty much I can manage it. You'll be surprised at when you work for yourself, how much pulling. People are always pulling me to have a conversation. And they always feel like they're the only one pulling me to have this conversation. However, I have to manage my heart because I'm in the people business. And so I have to manage my heart. So I have to manage my temperament. And I also have to manage myself to make sure that I'm always serving. And so, anyway, needless to say, I've always had a mindset in working at organizations that I would always end up working for myself and be self-employed. But again, like I said, I always wanted to give my 100%. So I want you to make a list of what it is that you want to accomplish. This is not a resolution. This is not a New Year's resolution. This is about serious business. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And if you think about it and you look back over this year, I can't even believe tomorrow will be December 15th. I have so much that I still need to get done before the end of this year. And it is my intent to get it done. But it's going to take me getting into a quiet space that I shut off all outside communication. And I take the time to do what matters most to me, the people that I serve in my organization, and the people that I love. Because all of it ties together. Our legacy is tied by all of it. If we don't get in alignment and if we don't gain control over setting our goals and achieving them, then what is the legacy that we leave behind? How do we show those who are watching us how to get it done and how to disconnect for those things that matter most to us? People are watching. I always say that whether you're a formal leader by title or informal by just people looking up to you. They're looking up to you in hope. And it is our responsibility as leaders, whether in our community, in our homes, our families, among our friends, it's our responsibility to make sure that we show up and we are an excellent example to them, and one that is easy to follow. So that means that you not only have to know how to lead yourself, you have to make sure that you are working very hard to show others how to lead themselves. And so I just charge you in this year. I want to say to you, happy holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate this time of the year. Happy holidays. I want to say Merry Christmas. This is a season of miracles. And I want you to tap into and believe God for all that you have in your heart, because God does want to bless us. He wants us to do well. He wants us to live well. He wants us to be healthy. He wants us to be wealthy in our mind, body, and our spirit. He wants to do that. But he wants you also to be accountable to your actions, to your behavior, to how you show up in this life. And he wants you to get in alignment with your life's assignment as a leader, as a contributor to this world. And he wants you to think in a bigger way, to think, how can I leave my mark on this world? Don't just have a life. Be your life. Be your life. That is being liberated, being unleashed, and doing all that you were meant to be. Have a heart that serves, but also in two capacities. Have a heart that serves the people, but also have a heart to leave a legacy, to leave your mark on the world that says that you were here. Don't just merely exist. Be the hope for yourself and someone else. Anyway, I love you so very much. I wanted to take this time. We've had a busy year, so we've not come on TCS Consulting very much this year, because we've expanded so much and there's a lot to catch up with and balance. But I just had to come on and say to you, reflect over this past year, project into the coming year, make a list of what it is that you want to accomplish, and put first what matters most to you. Is your legacy, it's your mark on the world, it's what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you happy in life. When you do it, what makes you the happiest? Do that the most, because in that you shine, in that other people see your light and they believe again. And so I just want to say, I love you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and all that jazz. And have a prosperous in your mind, body, and spirit. May you be healthy and wealthy throughout the coming year. Love you. I'm out.